Hola estudiantes, este es el tema 7.1, los verbos reflexivos. So we're talking about reflexive verbs and probably you are wondering what this is. So a reflexive verb is used to indicate that the subject who is doing something is performing an action. He is performing that action on himself or herself. In other words, this reflects the action of the verb back to the subject. So, for example, in this case, we are talking about verbs just like wash or uh, comb your hair. So, you are the one performing that action on yourself. It is different to say, I'm going to wash my car. The car is the one being washed by me, different than saying I'm going to wash my hands or I'm going to wash my face. So that means that the verb is going to fall, or the result of that verb is going to fall on the person that is talking. I'm going to give you some more examples so you guys see what I mean by this. Joaquín se ducha por la mañana. He is taking a shower. Okay? Joaquín is performing the action on himself. So if you pay attention here, we are going to see that we are going to have me, te, se, nos, os, and se over here as well. So this will never change. Yo will always go with me, tú with te, usted with se, and so on. So it is very important that for any reflexive verb, you remember that we are going to need this over here. We're going to need an extra word, if we can call this a word, over there to let me know that we are talking about reflexive verbs. So in this case, I'm saying yo me lavo, so it's not going to be only yo lavo. Yo lavo, it means I wash. If I say yo me lavo, then I wash my hands, or I wash my face, or I wash my own hair. It is different that I say I wash the car, like I previously said, or I wash my sister's hair, or I wash my baby's hands, okay? So that is going to be totally different. Those reflexive verbs will always be related to actions that can fall on the same person. Like I said, brush your hair, wash your hands, wash your face, shave your face, wake up, get up. Those are all reflexive verbs. So remember that for that we're going to need this little word over here to express we are talking about reflexive verbs and not just a regular verb. Whenever that is going to be with the conjugation, whenever we want to conjugate and make that verb match the person that is talking. So how do we recognize reflexive verbs when they are not conjugated? So just remember that we have verbs ending in ar, or er, or ir. At this point, you probably remember that. So whenever we have that se at the end, that will indicate that that verb is used as a reflexive verb and not just as a regular verb. So if you can see in here, we could say lavar, which is just the verb, or the verb to wash the car, to wash the carpet, to wash someone's hair. But in this case, when we say lavarse, then we mean that we are going to use this verb to talk about that is going to talk about that action falling on the same person that is talking. So same thing like lavarse, all of the next verbs, reflexive verbs, will end in se. For example, in here, afeitarse, okay? To shave my own face. Me afeito. Me maquillo, okay? I'm doing the makeup on myself. It's different to say I'm going to do the makeup or my sister's makeup, my friend's makeup. I'm going to do the makeup on her instead of I'm going to do that to my own face. Te despiertas a las 7. I wake up. It's different to say I go wake up my little son or my little daughter that is sleeping and I go wake her up. It's different than that. I wake myself up, if you may. A las chicas les encanta maquillarse durante horas y horas. So girls like to do their makeup for hours and hours. And we can see in here examples of, makeup and shaving themselves. So like object pronouns, reflexive pronouns generally appear before a conjugated verb. So those pronouns are the ones that we mentioned before, se or me or te, remember over here. They're going to appear before the conjugated verb. So there you are. We are going to see them before me lavo or me levanto or me llamo or me cepillo, okay? So we have some examples in here. Ellos se van a vestir. Now we can also add that at the end. So just remember this is only optional. You can do also that. So please look at the different ways that we can say that. Both of them are correct. I usually recommend using the first one because it's a little bit more evident and more and easier to follow. But you also have the option to say ellos van a vestirse and then put the se at the end of the verb. Now this is not going to happen all the time. This is only when we are using infinitives and present participles, okay? So that's why I'm telling you that is just better for you for now to keep in mind how to do it this way. So here we have some of the most common reflexive verbs, the ones that we are going to see throughout this semester: acordarse, acostarse, afeitarse, bañarse. So you can see that we are going to have that se, which means that is a reflexive verb, and that we are going to need a pronoun in front of that whenever we conjugate it. However, you have to keep in mind that all of these verbs are ending either on AR or IR, or for example over here AER. So those verbs in those terms of the endings are going to keep the same ending. The only difference is that we are going to add the pronoun in front. Let's go back to the previous example. So that verb is lavarse. So the difference is that I'm adding the pronoun, but the endings keep being the same. O, AS, A, and so on. Amos. See? We will keep the same endings that we already know. The difference is that we are adding the pronoun at the beginning. So here we have a compare and contrast chart where I see that Lola lava los platos. She washes the dishes. Lola se lava la cara. She washes her face, okay? So the verb over here, the conjugation, is used the same way. The only difference is that we are adding that pronoun that makes the verb to be reflexive. Okay? Parts of the body or clothing are generally not referred to with possessives, but with articles. La niña se quitó un zapato. Necesito cepillarme los dientes. We usually don't use the possessive. So what it means in here is that we don't really use or say I need to wash or brush my teeth. I need to brush my hair. So in here, well, that is the contrast with English, that I will use the articles, those articles that we learn in Spanish 111, talking about indefinite articles and definite articles. It's going to be different than saying I'm going to remove my shoe or I'm going to brush my hair. In Spanish, we say la niña se quitó un zapato or necesito cepillarme los dientes. We don't say necesito cepillarme mis dientes. That's a little bit redundant since we already know that we're talking about myself. So this is reflexive verbs, los verbos reflexivos. Please pay attention, especially here, to the conjugation, to those pronouns that go in front. Keep in mind that the endings are going to be the same that we already know. And also pay attention to this list because we will see these verbs throughout the semester. Now, whenever you see this, whenever you see those parentheses, it means that this is also, additionally, this is a stem changing verb. Stem changing verbs were addressed in Spanish 111, and those say that whenever we are going to conjugate a verb, if this verb is stem changing verb, it will make a change over here. For example, in here it's telling me O to UE. So I'm going to look at this O, and whenever I conjugate that in the present, it's going to go from O to UE. Same thing in here. In here, that doesn't happen, but it happens in here. So I have three changes. It can be from O to UE, from E to IE, or from E to I over here. Keep that in mind. If you don't remember, feel free to go back to look at the stem changing verbs. That was Spanish 111. And if you still have questions, as always, please let me know.